Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk, free for a Friday. Talk about anything you want. 888-589-8840 is the number, 888-589-8840. You know, one of the things that we have repeatedly urged is the view that we should not normalize homosexual behavior, in part because of the health risks involved. I mean, there are many reasons not to normalize or celebrate homosexual behavior, but the health risks are as salient as any of them because there are very severe health risks associated with homosexual behavior. And here's an example from L.A. County. This is the headline in the L.A. Times. 3 gay men die of meningitis in L.A. County. So people accuse us of being lacking in compassion. You don't care about people. You're just judgmental. Well, here is the truth. I don't want anybody to die from meningitis. I care about people. I love people. I love those that are involved in the homosexual lifestyle. I do not want to see any of them die from meningitis. And here's the LA Times saying, look, men who have sex with men are at elevated risk of dying from meningitis. 3 gay men sickened from meningitis in LA County have died, the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health said Thursday. The department announced earlier this week that there have been 8 cases of invasive meningococcal disease in the county so far this year. 4 cases occurred in men who have sex with men. On Thursday, officials said 3 of them had died. The victims were 27 or 28. Now, this ought to just break our hearts. These young men in the prime of life, they are dying, and they are dying because their involvement in a sexually deviant lifestyle has made them vulnerable to this invasive disease, and it's killing them. They're dying at 27 and 28. Robert Boland, the medical director at the LA Gay and Lesbian Center, said there is cause for concern in the gay community because the infection rate is higher in men who have sex with men and especially higher in those who are HIV positive. Boland said it is unclear why the disease seems to affect gay men specifically, though the weakened immune systems of people who are HIV positive might make them more susceptible. Of the 4 LA County cases reported among gay men, 3 involved men who were HIV positive. Boland said this, there's a pretty strong signal that men who have sex with men, at least those who are HIV positive, are at increased risk for invasive meningococcal disease, that is dying of meningitis. You know, we talked about the fact that the CEO of Mozilla Firefox, that's the outfit that invented or created the Firefox web browser, they ran their CEO right out of his job because in 2008 he gave one $1,000 donation to the National Organization for Marriage to defend and protect natural marriage in support of Proposition 8, which passed 52 to 48 in California. 7 million Californians said, we want to amend our state constitution, define and protect marriage as a union of one man and one woman. He gave one gift of $1,000. Somebody in the IRS committed a criminal act and leaked the list of donors that had given to the National Organization for Marriage to a gay rights activist group, the Human Rights Campaign. And that's how the fact that he had made this donation became public. And now they have hounded him right out of his job. And here's a piece by Andrew Sullivan, who is an out homosexual. He's a homosexual activist. He's as homosexual as you can possibly get. And he writes a piece called The Hounding of a Heretic. And he's not happy with what the Gay Gestapo has done to Brendan Eich. That's the guy that got run out of Mozilla. Here's what he writes. The guy who had the gall to express his First Amendment rights and favor Prop 8 in California by donating $1,000 has just been scalped by some gay activists. Now, remember, Tammy Bruce is a lesbian. She used the term Gay Gestapo. She said when they try to compel a gay baker to make a cake he doesn't want to bake, that's slavery. That's involuntary servitude. When they tell him he's got to do it even if it violates his conscience, that's abject tyranny. She called them the Gay Gestapo. Now, here you've got Andrew Sullivan talking about this being the equivalent of a scalping. And here's what he says about Brendan Eich, who's been publicly run out of his position with Mozilla. Will he now be forced to walk through the streets in shame? Why not the stocks? The whole episode disgusts me, and he's writing this as a homosexual now, as it should disgust anyone interested in a tolerant and diverse society. If this is the gay rights movement today, hounding our opponents with a fanaticism more like the religious right than anyone else, then count me out. If we are about intimidating the free speech of others, we are no better than the anti-gay bullies who came before us. So there's Andrew Sullivan, homosexual, basically saying, look, the real Taliban here are homosexuals, not Christians, not conservative Christians. Totalitarian homosexuals are the real Taliban here in America. And ABC, the network's collaborating with this. They covered the story of Brendan Eich being ousted at Mozilla. And what they did to slime him, Good Morning America did this. And let's see, ABC did this. They're talking, this is what Good Morning America did. ABC reporter Terry Moran did this back in December of 2012. But what Lindsay Janis did, or when she was reporting on Brendan Eich, they ran some footage of the Westboro Baptist Church to link Brendan Eich with Fred Phelps and the Westboro Baptist Church. So they did the same thing to us at Camp Shelby when they were talking about the American Family Association being a certified hate group according to the Southern Poverty Law Center. They had pictures up there on the screen of Fred Phelps trying to link us with the haters at Westboro Baptist Church. Robert George says this. Here's what the firing of Brendan Eich portends. Mozilla has now made its employment policy clear. No Catholics need apply. No evangelical Christians. No Eastern Orthodox. No Orthodox Jews. No Mormons. No Muslims. Unless, of course, you are the right kind of Catholic, evangelical, Eastern Orthodox Christian, observant Jew, Mormon, or Muslim, namely the kind who believes your religious or philosophical tradition is wrong about the nature of marriage. Other than that, he says, it's basically don't ask, don't tell. You can work here as long as you keep your mouth shut. You are disqualified from employment if you reveal your alleged bigotry and cause pain by stating your convictions. And he talks in here about what would happen. I mean, where we'd be headed is the next thing would be the sanctity of life issue. They find out that you believe in the sanctity of life. You will be classified as a misogynist, as a hater of women, as a bigot. We cannot have a misogynist, hateful bigot like you working for our company, and pretty soon people of faith will be excluded from from employment altogether. Well, let's grab a phone call or two. Let us go to Sean in Grand Saline, Texas. Sean, what's on your mind?
Yes, I believe you said that, do we think we should give up the fight for traditional marriage?
Yes.
I don't think we should. I mean, even if it was clear that the whole country wanted it, I don't think we should stop saying the truth of the Word of God. If God hasn't changed his viewpoint, why should we? We're called to fight the good fight to the end and teach his word. Jesus said, either for me or against me. And anybody who bows down to political correctness and changes their view is not for Christ.
All right. Well, very, very good. I appreciate that call. And what Sean is saying is exactly right. I mean, we don't really need any other reason to continue to fight to protect natural marriage than the Word of God. God has clearly defined marriage as a union of one man and one woman. There's absolutely no reason for us not to defend that view, not to articulate it, not to promote it, and not to work for its recognition in our culture. I'm looking at the poll data. One News Now, you can read my column there, which is about whether the Southern Baptists have surrendered through their spokesman, Russell Moore, on the issue of natural marriage. And, 62%, we've got 4 poll questions, 62% of the people say that it's critical that we continue to defend biblical marriage even if the odds seem to be running against us, because God hasn't changed his mind on marriage. So that's the number one reason why people who've read my column and gone to One News Now say we ought to defend biblical marriage, because God hasn't changed his mind. 23% we ought to keep doing it because we have been called to be faithful. 14% because we have been called to be salt and light in a dark world. So go to One News Now and be sure to vote in our poll. Let's go to Tim in Delaware, Ohio. Tim, welcome. What's on your mind?
Yes, Brian, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Hey, I'm a veteran of the United States Army, okay? And my daughter is now she's also in the Army, and she's in Fort Sam Houston right now for medical training. Now, a while back, we went to visit her basic training graduation, and first time in my life that I was ever there to actually be in a graduation, even though I was actually in the graduation years ago myself. But and this whole company out of the brigade comes out, and this middle company is filled with illegal immigrants, and they swarm in right there. I've never seen it. It kind of floored me the way it was done, and I'm thinking, you know, to a lot of these third world people, our basic training is like, you know, a gift. It's like 3 meals a day, and
now. So Tim, you're saying that these. Now, how did you know that they were illegal aliens?
Well, because I asked the sergeants, and I asked other soldiers there.
And now, and so you're saying that there was a whole bunch of these. I mean, roughly how many would you say there were?
Well, in a company, I'm saying there's probably about 60 soldiers per company, 4 companies per battalion, and there's about a half a company at each rotation that came through.
That were illegal aliens. So these were illegal aliens that had no legal right even to be in this country, and they had been allowed to take the oath and join the United States military.
Yeah, there was a lady right there who swore them in right there in front of everybody. And
Wow.
Another thing that I'd like to add to this, and I won't take too much of your time, is, let me tell you, being in the military, and my family's in the military, the soldiers who are serving, they don't really like this either, but they got their hands tied. And let me tell you something, these soldiers...
And I got to let you go, Tim. I'm out of time, but you're saying the soldiers have their hands tied and they don't like it. Focal Point AFR Talk. Be right back.
Do you know why?